Give me a sec. Okay. Okay, give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a sec. Give me a second, please. I just need to corroborate that the stream's up and working. So please give me a quick second. Uh, quick second. Okay, okay. I think I have it. Okay, so let me just post about the stream on social media so I can get views, and then we can start directly with MINA development. Okay, okay, I just posted about this live stream on social media, so I guess we are good to go. Okay, so just let me quickly corroborate that we're okay and everything sounds good. I changed a couple of settings on my OBS stream, so the sound sounds better today. So we should be getting better sound or better audio quality today. Hope you hear me all right. So let me just check this very quickly, and then we can get hands-on with MINA development or with the development of MINA. All right, everything looks fine. So let's go ahead. Okay, so where did we left on the last stream? Okay, so let me just check our notes. I remember that we were defining features for this AI or for Mina, basically. We were defining features. Um, I noticed when reviewing the last stream that it didn't sound um, the best because of my microphone and because I was playing music most of the time. So I'm not gonna play music today just to see how it goes. And I improved my audio quality, so my microphone sounds better. So in theory, we should be okay. Okay, so as I remember, we were defining features first of Mina to then start with some doing some research and then development. Okay, so we define like high-level features, what the user would need to do. Then we were going, then we were what we were doing. We were defining some detailed features, as I see. Okay, yes, I broke down like the high-level features into more specific features, right? So we defined okay, as I remember, we were defining these features based on like the flow the user had to let's say commit or to participate in order to use the tool or like the idea of the tool. I remember I did some drawings on GIMP. Okay, yes. Okay, so let me just open the other one because I remember we drew two drawings. Okay, so let me open this one. Okay, I think it's user flow layer. Okay, yes, so I'm correct. As I remember, and the user flow or the flow, the idea of the flow is that the user is going to input some audio or input with natural language data to the to Mina, and then Mina is going to parse the data, is going to give it to like some weird AI layer and produce some output using speech again, using audio. Okay, so I was going to define. What I was going to do is that I was going to define like like the layers. Okay, I believe we this is like a very simple flow of how the user would interact with the tool with Mina, and but there are quite some details here. For example, I remember we drew uh, the AI layer, okay, because okay, so if I remember correctly, so you get input, you introduce that data into the AI, and then you output some data. Okay, and the input output and the input and output that is parsed generally because you want to be able to command or to interact with AI using commands, right? So the idea is that you use some technologies like text to speech or speech to text to translate or parse this human language into um, binary or text data that the AI can use or the LLM can use. Now, the AI layer is a very broad term because AI uh, defines quite some stuff. So I remember I drew this AI layer, let's say, or this little AI box. I expanded it and drew this more complicated, or not complicated, but a more detailed layout of the process. Okay, so if I remember correctly, okay, you get input from the AI, and then I remember we defined some intent classification. Why? What was this intent classification? Uh, Easy, pretty easy. Just let me stop for a second. I need to see something very quickly. Okay, okay, I'm done. So I was saying, okay, so the AI passes. Okay, I think, okay, you know, now that I'm viewing this, I'm doing lots of drawings. I think we probably should use another tool because drawings are the best way to describe problems. So what I'm going to do right now is that uh, I'm going to translate all these or all the current process that we have into a draw. I think there's this platform called draw.io. Yes, when you can create like flowcharts. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use this platform to create our flows, right? So let me start and let me create a new diagram. So let me call it brainstorming or let me just call it Mina. Let me define a whole bunch of drawings or charts in this file. Okay, again, this looks like in dark mode. I think we could work with dark mode, although I'm not. Okay, can we change this to light mode? Like light dim. Um, okay, so let me save this in my computer first. Okay, so let me save this at our in our GitHub repository, right? Because this is this is this is open source and we want to document everything on our GitHub repository. So let me save this on a folder, what am I, a Windows user, and a directory called draw.io here. Uh, okay, and let me save this file. Okay, so I'm gonna push that later on the stream to the cloud-based Git repository on GitHub so you guys can have access to it, right? So the idea is that a user, let's define first like a basic user flow, right? So basic or high level user flow. But first I really want to change this so we can get like a light dim version of this whole tool that I'm using right now, because I really would feel more comfortable using light mode. Although I usually use dark mode on everything, but this I don't know why I'm really accustomed or really used to the light version or the light dim version of this. Okay, okay, okay. Let me. Uh, 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 I regret. I take back my words. Let's keep it dark mode. Okay, so what I was saying, or let's say, okay, uh, I'm not gonna play Minecraft. Hi. Uh, so as I was saying, the idea is to first define like a user flow of how the tool is going to be interacted with. So I already had this diagram, but it's not very comprehensible. It's not really easy to understand. So I was going to translate this diagram, this whole diagram, into this like weird like format in this platform called Draw.io. Okay, so the idea is that the user interacts with the AI assistant via voice commands. So we need to define a speech text layer and the reverse opposite, right? Speech to text and text to speech layer. So that layer of like natural language and text translation should exist between like the human and the core AI, right? So let's define it, right? So the idea is that the user interacts with this SST and TTS layer. So we could define that as natural language layer because it's just easier than saying STT and TTS, right? So let's define this layer with a couple boxes right here, maybe it's whatever boxes, just simple S or NLP layer, let's call it because natural language layer. So let's define the natural language layer first. So then from the natural language translation, we can, let's say, output or input this data into the actual like core AI model. So I'm gonna duplicate this chart and I'm just gonna color it with another color. I'm gonna give it like this. I like the red one. Oh, let me keep the pink one. Okay, so the idea is, or the flow could look as the following. The user uh, inputs like natural language, text, whatever human words we're using. Then we input this text and we uh, feed them to the core AI model, right? To the core AI system. I can't explicitly say an LLM because we can't, or the idea is that uh, the user doesn't only get like plain responses, right? As we talked on the last, or as I discussed, or as I told you guys in the last stream, the idea is that the user can do two things with the AI: have like a normal chat conversation and have and command stuff, meaning that the user can give commands to the user, right? So um, so we cannot define like an AI as being just LLM. We should probably define uh, AI as like an AI core or AI layer. Let's call it just AI layer because AI it's like a really broad concept and like yeah, it's a really broad concept and um, it would enclose various fields or the various processes underlying this. You know, now that I'm watching or now that I'm reviewing this flowchart, which is pretty simple actually, I wouldn't say that NLP encloses or describes exactly like what the STT and TTS layer would need to, or yes, I'm going to rename this to again to STT and TTS, or speech to text and text to speech, because it's more clear, because NLP again it's another branch of AI, and it's not really that descriptive. So let me define the, okay, so the idea, you have the end user. The end user, okay, the end user is gonna input, or is gonna, yes, it's gonna use natural language to input to the AI, which let's describe MINA as enclosing this. So MINA is gonna be this, right? It's okay. MINA is gonna be, okay. So the idea is that MINA, or the whole system, these couple boxes here are done, like these phrases are done within MINA. So let's define them, or let's enclose them within like a box that describes MINA, so it makes more sense. Again, let me change colors here. I don't like these colors. I'm gonna use blue, although I like purple, so let me just change it to purple and change these inner boxes to other colors. Okay, let me change this again. Okay, this looks okay. This looks fine. Okay, so this whole purplish, or similar to purple box, is MINA again, the MINA system. So let's just define this, or give it colors. Okay, okay. I said a word in Spanish. Okay, should remember that I'm live streaming in English. Okay, so the end user is gonna input some, simply the end user is gonna input some input some data in natural language. This is audio, and Mina is gonna okay. So the first step on the flow, or the first step, or let's say like the first barrier in which Mina and end users interact is this STT and TTS layer. Okay, and simply, let's just say simply, it's this STT and TTS layer is really only going to be like a translation layer. Okay, this translation layer is gonna really going to get that input translated or parsed, or however you would want to define it, and then output that to the AI layer. Let's just call it AI core layer, core AI layer. Let's call it core AI. Makes more sense than simple AI. Okay, so that makes sense, right? Uh-huh. Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, so you get this, and the core AI layer does whatever it needs to do, and then you produce some output. Now, that means that this, like this, how do you call this? These arrows aren't unidirectional; they are bidirectional. So let's just make some changes here. Maybe use another arrow here to describe this, or to relay this. So I'm gonna just create this arrow so it makes more sense. Or I think it's more descriptive to have like like two arrows instead of a directional arrow. It makes more like input and output. So I'm just gonna use two of this. Okay, so this is like a very basic flow, or not flow, but because this isn't a flow chart per se, But this is like a very basic, um, yeah, it's a flow. Let's call it just a flow. Let's call it what it is, a flow of the interaction between the MINA system and external users. I think it makes sense. Okay, it makes sense for me. Uh, okay, so let's keep it. Okay, let's define this as a high level layer until now. Let's continue defining detail features, right? So, okay, so you have like these detail features where you have, okay, I forgot this. There's an extra layer. There's this like, okay, because I forgot that Mina isn't always actively hearing for commands. It's hearing first for a wake up layer. Let's call it a wake up layer. So I guess I guess it would make sense to, instead of drawing this like horizontally, to define it vertically as if it was like a stack. So I'm gonna grab this and let's just start moving some of these arrows all the other way. So let me just find this here and continue defining this flow as if it was less like a stack, because it makes more sense, at least to me, and I think that's what matters right now. Okay, so okay, I erase this. I think it would be easier if I had like a whiteboard which I could use like to draw things, because drawing in digital programs or in software isn't like as easy as if it was like just passing around a pencil or drawing stuff. But this is, I guess I should use this software anyways, because it's easy for you, the users, to view what I'm thinking or to visualize my drawings in this software, instead of like putting a whiteboard here and uh, and you watching me like draw stuff. It wouldn't be kept documented also, so that's a no-no. Okay, so as I was saying, I skipped I skipped this wake up command layer, because the MINA layer, or MINA, isn't always actively listening for prompts or for instructions. Uh, it wouldn't be efficient again, so we should find a wake up layer. Let's call it wake up layer. A wake up layer is going to be the layer that's that let's say like that yeah, is constantly, it's sleeping, but it's waiting for the MINA AI system to be woken up, to be um, called out. Let's say. So let's define it as an extra layer on top of the TTS and STT layer. Let's call it wake up layer or call out layer. How should we call it? Let's just call it wake up layer because it's easier. Let's color it with another color. Let's give it a yellow orange. We already have orange. Okay, let's give it a blue. Okay, I don't like any of these colors. Okay, let's give it this light blue color. Okay, so again, you have the wake up layer, Then you have a TTS and STT layer, which I don't really like that wording. Uh, I think it's like too wordy, too much word to describe a single layer. So let me do some quick research here. Again, SCT and TTS. Let me just ask. Let me just ask ChatGPT, I guess. And ST are part enclose enclose what category of AI technology? So I guess I'm gonna ask Google because it now has some weird AI. And let me ask ChatGPT. And parallel, the speech processing makes sense. Belong the bird of speech AI. hmm Okay, okay. It says STT and TTS fall under the category of speech processing, which is a subfield of NLP and AI, because you have AI like as a main branch, like as a tree, the root of the AI tree hierarchy, and then you have NLP, and then you have speech processing, which have TTS and STT. Okay, makes sense. So yeah, it makes sense. So I'm just gonna draw this if you guys don't know. But AI, it's like a pretty broad spectrum or a very broad um, field of computer engineering and computer science. So you have okay, into so you have like AI as as a root, like as a root node. If we were talking about trees, and then you have different uh, categories or subfields in AI. You have ML, you have NLP, and you have others, which I'm not gonna list because again you have others. In NLP, you have NLU, and as we just learned, NLP means natural language understanding. You have NLU, which means natural language understanding. NLP means natural language processing. And it appears you have a speech processing, or let's call it on speech to text or automatic speak or text to speech. A speech AI, I guess, TTS, and I don't like the word speech AI or I think I would okay. I just came this article. This really has a lot of important concepts, but I'm not gonna read them now. So let's just call this. Okay, so both of these use deep learning techniques, particularly reg what is this? Okay, and particularly recurrent natural language. I don't know. Okay, it's from this. Okay, so let's call this instead of TTS and SCT, let's just call it a speech layer or speech processing or SP layer. Let's just call it SP layer because I think it's just more of it, right? So let's just call it speech processing, speech speech processing layer or SP. Uh, so you have SP and then SP. This SP actually I'm just gonna write here that this SP encloses STT and TTS just so we are aware of this. uh, speech processing slash SP. Okay, okay, so you have the wake up layer, then you have the speech processing layer, which includes STT and TTS, then you have the core AI layer, and that's what we have defined right now. Okay, so again, we're not defining right now like specific technologies, specific techniques, or how we're going to be doing this, but what we are defining is like that very abstract layers that need to be implemented um, within MINA, so that like the full process can work right. So again, uh, what is this? Oh, I have DeepSeek open. Okay, okay. So let's continue defining our requirements. So you have the wake up command, you have STT, you have AI. Okay, let's just keep the nitty gritties here about intent classification and the core AI. Uh, speech. Let me define this in a more clear here. Okay, let me just add this here. Speech processing SP layer. Again, okay, so this is like some layers of this. Okay, so this makes sense till now. Okay, so the user can access MINA. They have these layers. Okay, so again, let me review the high level features to see if something else comes. Okay, so you have conversation between the user and the AI. You have okay. I think these features, these high level features, are already broken down in these three sections, which are really high level sections, or let's say divisions not, but segments. Let's call them segments. Okay, so okay, let's just leave it there. Okay, okay, makes sense. Because user command instructions to the AI, that's part of the core AI. Then this RAG system or this whatever is part of the RAG here. Then conversation, the full conversations flow. Now Jarvis from Iron Man. Okay, okay. So again, okay again. So as I was saying, so Jarvis from Iron Man also have some visual components to it because if we can recall correctly, their Jarvis here is able to um, wait, Jarvis is able to visualize like real world stuff, like real world stuff. For example, Jarvis is able, for example, Iron Man can ask Jarvis, "Hey, uh, can he? I can't recall if he can do that. Can Jarvis have like visual or not only audio but also like some visual capabilities, let's say, or yes, visual capabilities. I guess that's how you would define them. Can Jarvis view things in real life? It has access to to cameras, I guess. Yes, it has access to it has access to whatever Tony Stark can see in the movies. But I think I'm getting too ahead of myself, and the idea is not to build like the first full-blown AI assistant on the first try. So so I guess this is good for a great start for a good start for having something to start with. Again, so I'm going to leave this here on this like basic user flow. And now that we have defined like these three main layers of Mina or the interaction between the end user and Mina, I think it would be a great idea, and I think you guys can agree with me that we should start breaking this down into more specific language stuff, right? Or more specific implementation stuff, or the more implementation side of things. That's what I'm trying to say. Like we should get started with implementing. Now again, let me remind you how my approach to building Mina will be. Because I'm talking about a lots of like AI concepts and whatever. I'm talking about what am I talking? I'm talking about really complicated stuff. I'm talking about what I'm really talking about here is that I'm really talking what I'm trying to say. I really have lots of ideas right now in my head, so I'm trying to organize my ideas so I can talk to you guys. But what I'm trying to say, or what I what I'm trying to say is that uh, right now I'm having lots of ideas simultaneously, like concurrently, or concurrently, no, but in parallel, no, concurrently, or yes, I guess the brain can work in parallel. So I'm having lots of ideas right now about what I'm going to say, and that's a thing that happens a lot to me because, or a lot to me, yes, is that I usually have a bunch of ideas at the same time, and I discuss the ideas with myself, like in my mind, so I can agree or disagree with my own ideas in a matter of seconds, and I end up not expressing myself well because I'm debating my ideas with myself whilst I'm talking, so it's weird, I guess. Um, I've been practicing this, like the ability. I guess because it's a skill, right? Communication is a skill. I've been practicing the skill to communicate my ideas more clearly, but I always have that problem, or that it's not really a problem or an issue, but that thing in my mind. But yes, again, what I was going to say, what I was going to say is that the way we're going to develop Mina um, is that we're going to take one of these let's say, tasks or one of these major topics, and we're gonna deep dive into it, do some great and extensive research, and start from there. So this is a more of a divide and conquer, let's say, approach. Although we could do some top to bottom or bottom to top approach to approach this. I mean, we could start with that core AI layer, or with a STT and STT layer, or the wake up layer. I mean, we could do whatever. We actually we could do whichever of these ones. I mean, nothing is stopping. I mean, is something stopping one from another one? I mean, the wake up layer depend. I mean, the wake up layer needs to take input and then output that to the speech process, or to the speech processing layer, to the SP layer, and then this also depends on the core AI layer. I guess it would be a good idea to start with the core AI layer, and then instead of doing a top to bottom or a divide and conquer approach, we should go for a bottom to top approach. I said approach instead of approach. I think we should go from bottom to top approach. I mean, because I just don't know. I think if we go from, let's say, from a top to bottom approach, we start with a wake up layer, then I figure out how to do this like wake up uh, feature where the user can wake up literally or call out the core AI. Then I would need to figure out then how to pass. I guess not. I guess okay. So I'm thinking, how what what is like the best approach to handle, or what's the best approach to start tackling each of these layers, right? Okay, so oof, I mean STT and TTS and the wake up layer, I can they kind of come hand in hand, so they could be related to each other. And okay, so I don't think there is really a correlation or a dependency problem here. I mean, I could develop each layer. Yes, I think the way I've divided this into layers, uh, I think each layer is independent of, and it could be independent of each other. For example, a wake up layer. Why would the wake up layer? Why would the wake up layer like depend on the speech processing layer, and why would the speech processing layer depend on the core AI layer? So I guess yes, we could start from which we could use whatever approach to start tackling these issues. So I'm gonna go with the core AI layer, I guess, uh, because I, know, I just don't know. It sounds like the core feature or the core problem of of MINA. So I mean the other two layers are basically input and output issues, or input and output, and input and output. I think that's a pretty defined problem or issue or problem space, and the core AI layer is a more broad problem space. So okay, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go with the core AI layer, and we're gonna start from bottom to top and see what happens. Okay, so yes, let's start with the core AI layer. AI layer. Um, okay, so now that I have defined that, okay, I just thought about this. Uh, it's a good idea to start with a core AI layer because we can test the core AI layer without the need of speech processing. I mean, you could test the core AI layer. You can give instructions to whatever AI, or yes, you could in the example, or in the let's say in the situation we need to test out, or we need to, or let's okay, in the example we need to input some data into the core AI layer. We could do that directly using text instead of using uh, like audio, because you know it's not necessarily audio that the core AI layer needs to process. So yeah, I mean, yes, let's go for the core AI layer first and break this down. Okay, so as I was saying, and I don't know if any of you guys from last stream um, remember, but the core AI layer, or not the core AI layer, but the approach that I usually do for projects is question-driven development. This is not something I've created. It some weeks ago, actually some time ago, someone made me notice this. I thought it was like an original idea, like yeah, I, I invented or I created this question-driven development, but it's not actually. It actually goes back all the way back to Aristotle. I don't know if I mispronounced it or butchered it, but yeah. Um, Again, I'm not gonna get into the details of that. What I need to get into the details of is what is question-driven development and how do I apply this question-driven development into like the my actual like development. uh, Question-driven development is a way to approach a problem that you don't know nothing about. Okay, so question-driven development is what is question-driven development? Okay, so question-driven development is a way to approach a problem that you don't know nothing about. So in question-driven development, you break down an issue, a problem, a task, a problem space into questions. Then you break down those questions into more questions, and you break those questions that you have already broken down into more questions, and you do that until you're full out of questions. Then what you're gonna do is what you're gonna get is that you're gonna get like pretty specific issues or pretty specific problems, and you can start from there like researching or developing stuff instead of like getting to from a more broad issue. So the idea is that you get specific like tiny granular issues that you can approach or that you can use to start development or start processing whatever issue you have in hands. So yeah, that's my approach. Okay, so now that we have defined what big problem space we have, let's do some uh, question-driven development and start with the research. Now, I should probably say that I don't know a bunch of the things I want to do. I mean, I'm going to say something that I've heard, not from it's not something I invented or I've created or I came up with. It's something I heard from someone in the internet, and it's that there are things you know, there are things you know that you don't know, and there are things you don't know that you don't know, and there are lots of things. There are things that I know that I don't know, uh, and because I know the concepts or I know what that they exist or no, I don't like high level overviews of them, but I know there are a bunch of things that I don't know, like concepts I don't even know about, or that I've never heard even the word of, that I've never even heard of the word. I've never even heard the word. That's what I'm trying to say. So, uh, this whole development thing or this whole live streaming is gonna involve or it's gonna include this whole like research, let's say like this whole research uh, tasks that I need to do, cause we're here to learn, right? This is a new and this is a really new problem space for me. Well, not really new, that new because I'm familiar with AI technologies. I use them in my work in my day-to-day life, and I've used them to develop other types of projects. But I'm tackling here a new problem space, and I guess, and yes, I'm tackling here a new problem space, and question-driven development is like the best way, or I think is the best approach you could take to tackling these problems. So yeah, let's go ahead and start. Core AI layer. Okay, so now that I have defined my high level, let's say, stuff, let's start doing our question-driven development or Q QQ. Yeah, that's the word, right? Uh, QQD or no QDD, question-driven development. Okay, so by the way, I'm going I'm going to create QDD or question-driven development directory here on the projects on the GitHub repository, so I can document like all this question-driven development process and like all the questions required or all the questions asked. So again, I'm gonna move these detailed features and high-level features into the QDD, and I think it's a little unnecessary to have two files that describe features. So let me just, what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna just divide this and delete one of these. So I'm gonna create a title for the first features called high level features, and then I'm going to create another title in Markdown because we're using Markdown because it's easier to manipulate plain text documents, and call this detailed features. Okay, I misspelled detailed. So let me save this and let me just remove, what should I remove? Cat high level features. Yes, let me just move high level features and call them features dot markdown, and remove detailed features. Okay, so this is I'm in Qt. I have quit. Okay, let's just start with our question-driven development process. As I have, as I've just explained, I just saw that I have a new concurrent user or a new viewer, so I guess I should explain this again because, just to make the experience more personalized to you, anonymous user. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm defining like the problem space of how I'm going to tackle some issues in MINA. So how I do this is that I implement, or I use something called question-driven development. Again, question-driven development is not a thing that I created, but a thing I use, a thing I heard from the internet. Now, question-driven development is a way to approach unknown problem spaces. Now, question-driven development is meant to be like used for problem spaces that you don't know, that you're new to. So the idea is that in question-driven development, you break down issues or problems into large set of questions or more specific questions, so you can get like more granular and more specific so you can tackle the problem. So let me give you like an example. Uh, when let's say you have like a big or unknown problem space, you need to break these problem space into more specific issues or problems. Then you break that issue or those specific issues into uh, other questions, and then you break those issues into more specific questions, right? So the idea is to break down everything into questions. Um, okay, so I just explained that because I saw a new user coming into the chat. Uh, so I guess it would with it would help the new user understand it, right? So, anyways, as I was explaining, or so I was uh, implementing like the question-driven development. Let's start with our question-driven development, and we're going to tackle AI, right? So let's start AI core AI layer. Let's start, okay, core AI layer, core AI layer dot markdown. So I just created this new file called core AI layer, where I'm going to have all my questions for question-driven development, right? So again, what's the problem space? The problem space is okay. Let's break down these. Okay, we already have questions, so let's create like a hierarchy of questions here. Like what, uh, how the first question that I can come up with is how will the AI, hey, how does the underlying AI look like? Okay, that's the first question I get. Okay, now what does it mean to have, what does what does the underlying AI mean? Okay, so for example, so another question could be like how does no what could be the next question? I mean, what does the underlying AI look like? Then, I guess, what is the AI actually? What type of AI technology am I using? What type of technology do I need actually? What type of technology do I need? Then, uh, what about, I mean, what about the AI do I need to know, or how do I how do I get the okay, let me answer these questions, right? And then come up with more questions, right? Because that's the only way to break down things into more questions, right? So how does the underlying AI look like? Um, let's say an LLM. Does it look, is it an LLM? Um, yes, it could be an LLM, a large language model, because I mean, what type of AI do, what type of AI do I need? I need the type of, I mean, I need Gen AI technology. I need AI or I need some kind of LLM model that's able to understand or to generate output. I mean, what is Gen AI actually? How can I define Gen AI and how does it fit like the Gen AI concept into this? So let me ask ChatGPT here, what is Gen AI, just to understand like the actual formal definition of Gen AI. It says that Gen AI refers to a category of AI that can generate new content such as text, images, audio, video, or even code based on patterns learned from existing data. Unlike traditional AI, which focuses on recognizing patterns and making decisions, Gen AI creates original outputs that mimic human-like creativity. Yep, I mean, yeah, we need Gen AI. We need some kind of Gen AI technology. Yeah, that's what we need. I mean, that's basically what we need. So how does the underlying AI look like? Uh, Gen AI technology, like Gen AI technology capable of Gen AI technology already encloses or defines what kind of Gen AI or AI technology or AI, let's say, Gen AI technology already encloses that concept encloses what the idea or what a concept. Yeah, Gen AI technology encloses what let's say features does it provide. That's what I'm trying to say. Now, do I need Gen AI technology? Yes. How does the underlying AI look like? Like Gen AI technology. Why? Like is why is it Gen AI? Again, that's another question. Why is it Gen AI? Cause why? Because why do I need Gen AI? Because I need to generate, let's say, to create. I need to create ori original output. Yes. Okay. Do I only need to create original output? Not necessarily always. I mean, um, just not always. I mean, I not only need to create output, as we've stated before, uh, as we've stated like here in the high level features. Okay. Okay, as we stated in the high level features, okay, there isn't only like generating like original output. There's also com like commanding on or instructing the AI with commands. So I I need Gen AI technology? Do I only need Gen AI technology? I need Gen AI technology, but do I only need why Gen AI? So I guess yes, that's so the other question could be do I do I need only Gen AI technology? Technology? Yes, no. I mean, can Gen AI or generative AI technology also like interact with other systems as Jarvis or in the future MINA could? Can could MINA or could Gen AI technology or is the nature of Gen AI technology executing tasks or actions or tools or calling APIs or services or whatever outside of only producing output or text? Not necessarily, or yes? I don't know. Let me do some research. Okay, so I said, okay, so ChatGPT says that Gen AI is about creating output. Let's let's ask him, let's do some prompt engineering and ask ChatGPT like what category of AI can detect commands from natural language and execute uh, specific defined processes. The category of AI that commands natural language and executes specific defined process falls under NLU and task-oriented AI. Key AI fields involved are NLU that extracts intent and meaning from human input, use techniques like NER, yes I've heard of NER, of named entity recognition, intent classification, and dependency parsing. Conversational AI used in virtualization like Alexa, MINA, and Alexa and Siri, implements predefined workflows to respond to commands. AI orchestration and automation uses AMLs combined with workflow automation systems, RPA, BPM. Okay, yes, I mean, um, yes, agentic AI, autonomous agents. By the way, I want to discuss this technology in a couple seconds. So we're going to talk about this protocol and this AI agent. Uh, so this AI agent thing. Okay, use LMs plus tools. Okay, so this is what I'm looking for. Agentic AI, autonomous agents or intelligent agents uses LM plus tools, can call APIs, retrieve knowledge, and perform multi-step reasoning. Because it says you're developing MINA, you're working in conversational AI with focus on task-oriented AI. Do you need help designing the? Okay, so by the way, I've already I have already talked about Mina with ChatGPT, so that's why he knows or he has or it has enough context to to name Mina in its responses. I guess it saved it in its cache or something. Okay, so AI agents. This is really interesting technology. It says agentic AI or autonomous AI. It uses LLM plus tools like LangChain, AutoGPT, OpenAI functions can call API, retrieve knowledge and perform multi-step reasoning. I want to know more about this because I mean I okay NLU I could simply use some NLU technologies to extract language and intent and parse entities, etc. Okay, so that makes sense. Okay, then conversational AI. Okay, this makes sense. AI orchestration and automation. I work with these systems. I work with Copilot Studio and Native Chat. I know how they work. Okay, the land-based. Okay, what I don't know much about is this agentic AI or autonomous agent stuff. I've heard this technology. I heard about this technology. I'm not sure about how it works, so I'm gonna do a couple things. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT about it, and I'm going to do some research about it. Right? So uh, let me let me stop for a second and let me do a couple things here. Okay, so this is my stream. I don't want you to see that. Okay, and let me just look for something because I'm getting notifications and that it can be bothersome right now. So let me just turn off the notifications. So I just don't remember what notification daemon I was using. So let me check my Hyperland configuration and delete like I think is it Mako slash help big rep uh, Mako was it Mako Linux. Okay, yes, I think I'm using Mako. So what I'm gonna do is that I'm gonna kill Mako and I'm not gonna get more notifications. So that's a thing. Okay, so let's know more about agentic AI and autonomous agents, right? So what's an AI agent? Oh my gosh, I just got blindsided. Okay, what is an AI agent? It says an AI agent are software. Okay, AI agents are software systems that use AI to pursue goals, to complete tasks on behalf of users. Okay, they show reasoning, planning, and memory, and have a level of autonomy to make decisions, learn, and adapt. Their capabilities are made possible in large part by multimodal capacity of Gen AI and AI foundational models. Agents can process multimodal information like text, voice, video, and audio code, and more simultaneously can converse, reason, learn, and make decisions. They can learn over time and facilitate transaction and business processes. Agents can work with other agents to coordinate and perform more complex workflows. And it says demo with Vertex AI, which I'm not sure what that is. Vertex AI. What is Vertex AI? Write a prompt. Okay, you do. I'm not gonna read about this. I'm just gonna read this article. It says, as explained above, while the key feature of an AI agent are reasoning and acting, this is what I'm looking for. Basically, I'm looking for reasoning and acting, I guess. Okay, so more features are have evolved over time. Reasoning. This core cognitive process involves using logic and available information to draw conclusions, make the inference, and solve problems. AI agents with strong reasoning capabilities can analyze data, identify patterns, and make informed decisions based on evidence and context. Okay, so they're basically they can do whatever an LLM can do. Then acting, the ability to take action or perform tasks based on decisions, plans. That's what's interesting about this technology. How do they make them to act? Okay, so let me just ask ChatGPT so it gives me like a more a more brief overview of this. In the meantime, so I'm going to tell to expand on agentic AI and autonomous agents. And I'm also I'm also not sure if this is the same as AI agents, which is a concept I've heard before. So I'm gonna ask uh, as ChatGPT about. So I'm gonna also uh, explain explain if the aforementioned uh, concepts refer to to the same concept as AI agent. Okay, so while this okay, says yes, the term are often used interchangeably. So agentic AI or autonomous agent or AI agent are the same. Yes. And okay, autonomous agent. Okay, a more advanced concept where agents exhibit self-driven behaviors. Okay, it says that agentic AIs are a more advanced concept. Uh, Okay, let me read about this. Agentic AI and autonomous agent refers to AI systems that can make decisions, interact with their environment, and perform tasks with minimal human intervention. These agents can plan, reason, and execute actions dynamically based on a given objective. Okay. Okay, so basically an agentic AI or autonomous agents are are is this like what people call like what do they call that? Like something artificial intelligence, like a version of artificial intelligence. Like it's like what is this? I don't understand this. This sounds like super. Uh, this sounds like the kind of technology that I'm looking to create, but this also sounds like science fiction, which is funny because it's again the type of project I'm working on right now. So it says that they're just not rule-based systems, but instead use LLMs, retrieval mechanisms like RAG, APIs, and execution frameworks to solve complex tasks. It says, are agentic AI, autonomous agents, and AI agents the same? Yes, the terms are often used interchangeably, but there are some nuances. Like, for example, an AI agent is a broad term from an AI system that can take actions. This is really interesting. Okay, then autonomous agent, it's an AI system that can act without human supervision and making independent decisions. I don't know if I need an autonomous agent. It would be cool to have an autonomous agent, but I'm not sure if that's what I need, what I want, or I don't know if that's like where I want Mina to go. And agentic agents are more advanced concept where agents exhibit self-driven behavior, reasoning, goal decomposition, and learning. All agentic AI are autonomous agents, but all agentic AI are autonomous agents, but not all AI agents are fully autonomous or agentic. Okay, makes sense. Hence, how do AI agents work? An AI agent typically follows this loop. Perception. The agent observes its environment, user input, API data, sensor data, etc. Reasoning and planning, it processes the input using LLMs, decision trees, or symbolic reasoning. Action execution, calls, functions, APIs, or scripts to perform the intended tasks. The feedback loop evaluates the results and adjusts the next action. Core technology behind AI agents, LLMs, GPT, Llama, Claude, memory and context search, vector database retrieval systems, RAG basically, tool use and API calling, LLM function calling, LangChain agents, auto GPT, autonomous planning. I really need to know about this LangChain thing or auto GPT. Then it says autonomous planning, React, baby AGI. AGI is a word I was recently looking for, which is artificial general intelligence. OpenAI's function calling, multi-agent collaboration, swarms, I don't know. Examples of AI agents, task execution agents, automate tasks, personal AI assistants, multi-turn conversational like MINA or JARVIS, AI researchers, and GPT can self-improve over time, code agents. I think that this is the type of technology I'm looking for. I think I'm looking for my own agentic AI. Right. Code agents. Okay, okay, yes. Okay. I'm kind of getting sleepy. As you can see, I just yawned. So I might end up string soon. Okay, so would you like some guidance? Okay, no. Okay, so what does it say about autonomous agents here? Okay, so observing, gathering information about, okay, it says key features about an AI agent. It says that observing, gathering information about the environment or situation through perception and sensing is essential for AI agents. Again, an AI agent is the same as, okay, their context and making informed decisions. These can involve various forms of perception, such as computer vision, natural language processing, or social data analysis. Okay, so this is really interesting because this means that that okay, so this is really interesting because this means that hi Byron, I just saw your comment. Okay, so this is really interesting because this means that an AI agent doesn't only like get input from an AI agent doesn't only get input from like human inputs, like human actions. For example, it doesn't only get input from video or audio, it also gets input from sensor data analysis. Okay, interesting, because that means that it's autonomous enough to learn by itself. Okay, it also says that autonomous agent can plan things by developing a strategic plan to achieve goals is a key aspect of intelligent behavior. Agents with planning capabilities can identify the necessary steps, evaluate potential actions, and choose the best course of action. Again, okay, so this is and this is what we're looking for. Think to make plans. Okay, collaborating. It says that an AI agent is done to work efficiently with other, whether humans or other AI agents, to achieve common goals. And self-refining. This is also very interesting. Okay, it says that it has the capacity to self-improvement and an adaptation. Okay, okay, so I think this is what we're looking for. This is the type of technology we're looking for. Okay, interesting. So Google, okay, displays here like a comparison between different AI technologies. So let's read about it. Okay, it says AI assistants are AI agents designed as applications or products to collaborate directly with users and perform tasks by understanding and receiving. No, okay, it says AI assistants are often embedded in the product being used. A key characteristic is the interaction between the assistant and user through different steps of the task. The assistant responds to requests or prompts from the user and can recommend actions, but decision making is done by the user. Okay, 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 interesting. Okay, so here's I have a comparison between an AI agent, an AI assistant, and a bot. Uh, okay, so I'm thinking we're going to migrate the idea of being an AI assistant to an AI agent. So, okay, it says purpose. Okay, so the an AI agent is autonomously and proactively perform tasks. Okay, so yes, an AI agent. I think we're looking. I think we're going to develop an AI agent instead of an AI assistant. Okay, it says it can perform complex multi-step actions, learns and adapts, can make decisions independently. This is probably what we need or what we want. Okay, and proactively and goal-oriented. Okay, it says AI assistant. Okay, the purpose is to assist the user with tasks. Okay, that would be like the original idea of the assistant, but I guess is it the idea of is it what we want? Maybe. Um, when I finish reading this article, and then I'm gonna finish stream because it's kind of late, and I've been live for almost an hour and a half. So let me quickly read this. But I think we're gonna be developing an AI agent, not an AI assistant. Okay, an AI or an assistant assists users with a specific task, responds to requests or prompts, provides information, and completes simple tasks. Can recommend actions, but the user makes decisions. Okay, okay. I don't know. Interactive and responds to user requests. Then a bot, which is another technology, it's automating simple tasks or automations, follows predefined rules, limited learning, basic interactions, reactive, okay, no. So the key differences are autonomy, complexity, and learning. Learning, okay, agents often employ machine learning to adapt and improve their performance over time. AI assistants may have some learning capabilities, while bots typically have limited to no learning. Okay, so we want to develop either an AI agent or an AI assistant. Okay, autonomy. Okay, complexity. Agents are designed to handle complex tasks and workflows, while AI systems and bots are better suited for simpler tasks and interactions. But how complex are we? How complex is complexity? Okay, because okay, this it says agents have the highest degree of autonomy, able to operate and make decisions independently, and to achieve a goal. AI systems are less autonomous, requiring user input and direction. It says have highest degree of able to operate and make decisions independently. And okay, it says bots are least autonomous, typically following the pre-programmed rules. How do AI agents work? Every agent defines its role, personality, and okay, a communication style, including specific instructions. Okay, persona. A persona, well-defined persona allows an agent to maintain consistent character and behave in a manner appropriate to its assigned role, evolving as a okay. Okay, really defines its role. Okay. Okay, memory. The agent is equipped in general with a short-term, long-term consensus or episodic memory. Short-term memory for immediate interaction, long-term for historical data and conversation, episodic memory for past interaction, and consensus memory for shared information about, among agents. The agent can maintain context, learn from experiences, and improve performance by recalling past interactions and adapting to new situations. Tools are functions or external resources that an agent can utilize to interact with its environment and enhance its capabilities. They allow agents to perform complex tasks by accessing information, manipulating data, or controlling external systems, and can be categorized based on their user interface, including physical, graphical, and program-based interfaces. Okay. I think this is really interesting. It says they allow agents to perform complex tasks by accessing information, manipulating data, controlling external systems, and can be categorized based on their user interface, including physical, graphical, and program-based interfaces. Tool learning involves teaching agents how to effectively use these tools by understanding their functionality and the context in which they should be applied. to learning. Okay, okay, yes, makes sense. You have to make an AI agent learn how to use a tool. You cannot simply just expect. Uh, yes, okay, it makes sense. You're not gonna program directly, or you're not gonna define directly on like a programming language or on code, or you're not gonna define directly how to use a tool. You're gonna explicitly, okay, it makes sense. You're not gonna define how to use a tool. You're gonna, okay, yes, okay, you have to teach the AI how to use a tool, but it might not. So since you need to teach the AI how to use the tool, it might not know always how to use the tool. It might not okay, so you need to train. Do you need to train? Or how do you teach? How does the teaching work? Okay, okay, that's a thing to do some research on. Then it says large language models, which serve as a foundation for building AI agents, providing them with the ability to understand, reason, and act. Okay, yes. LLMs act as the brain of an AI agent, enabling them to process and generate language, while other company facilitate reason and action. What are the types of agents in AI? Agents can be categorized in various ways based on their capabilities, roles, and environments. Here are some key categories of agents. Based on interaction, based on number of agents. Okay, it says based on interaction. One way to categorize agents in how they interact with users. Some agents engage in direct conversation, while others operate in the background, performing tasks without direct user input. Interactive partners, also known as surface agents. I stand out with tasks like customer service, healthcare, education, science discovery, providing personalized and intelligent support. Conversational agents include Q&A, chit chat, and world knowledge interaction with humans. They are generally user query triggered and fulfill user queries or transactions. I think that's what Mina is going to be. I think that's what we need Mina to be an interactive partner or a surface agent or a surface AI agent, because an autonomous background process, what is this? It says that background agent, it's an AI agent that works behind the scenes to automate routine tasks, analyze data for insights, optimize processes for efficiency, and practically identify and address potential issues. They include workflow agents. They have limited or no human interactions and are generally driven by events and fulfill queued tasks or chains tasks. Okay, queued tasks or chain of tasks. Okay, so I mean, it would be nice that Mina could also do some background processing, but the main idea is to have some interaction to trigger Mina. So, what kind of autonomous background processing would Mina do if I were to classify Mina as a background agent? Um, I mean, we could use Mina to what? To analyze the system. Okay, okay, I'm gonna find that in another time, but we already know about this, so we should take this into account when defining like the specific type of technology that is gonna be Mina. Now, based on number of agents, it could be a single agent or a multi-agent. Okay, so okay, okay, so you have single agent operate independently to achieve a specific goal. They utilize several tools and resources to accomplish tasks, enhancing their functional capabilities and diverse environments. They are best suited for well-defined tasks that do not require collaboration with other AI agents and can only handle one foundation model for its processing. Then you have multi-agent or multiple agents that collaborate or cooperate to achieve common objectives for or individual goals. These systems leverage the diverse capabilities and roles of individual agents to tackle complex tasks. Multi-agent systems can simulate human behavior, such as interpersonal communication, interactive scenarios. Each agent can have different foundation models that best fit their needs. Okay, okay, interesting. Um, okay, I don't think we need a single. I think we could go with a single agent and an interactive partner or a surface agent at first, and then we could change MINA as it goes to check if we need to make it also a background process or a background agent. But yes, this is really interesting. This was really interesting, but it's really late and I want to go get some sleep. So, um, what we're gonna do right now is that I'm gonna get some sleep. I'm gonna leave you guys until now. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys here. I'm gonna get some sleep, and we're going to continue probably tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, doing some more research. I liked that we have already started doing some specific uh, problem-based research. I guess today was very productive, but there we you should go to sleep as well. So bye bye, good night, good evening, hasta mañana.